What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be talking about my second vending show that I did in the 757 area. A lot of lessons learned, a lot of things I'm going to do moving forward. So let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? It's Ken here with CSMCollecting.com. I'm an active duty military member who has a passion for sports cards, TCGs, to include Pokemon and Magic as kind of my big ones. So, in doing that, I decided to open my own eBay store using my own personal collection to start my business or start my selling to use this as a future business. So, I started selling late 2024. March of 2025, I decided to open up my own website, csmcollecting.com, where I currently sell Japanese and English Pokemon product. So if you are interested in that, please make sure you go check it out, csmcollecting.com. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the second show that I vended as I'm building up my business and doing these business adventures. Vending is one of those ways for me to kind of like get my name out there, get the brand out there, and kind of move forward with that. I did my first show vending at the end of March. It was last month. At the end of March, and I brought a lot of sports cards and Pokemon cards. And I kept track of it. I did a lot of good things for Pokemon. I did a lot of good things for sports, but for this one, I kind of wanted to focus more on Pokemon, less on sports, just because they're for me. It was more enjoyable doing the Pokemon side. And then if you've ever dealt with sports cards or sold sports cards or actively deal with sports cards, you kind of know there are some people that are out there that are just wild. And I'll talk about a little bit in one of my snippets here for my show that I did a trade for sports. But overall, I kind of want to talk about some of my lessons learned and what worked for me and what didn't work for me. So before I go and show you like kind of some snip bits and shots of the show, uh, I'll start with saying that I did try to record. Went out and got our GoPro, got the memory card. What I didn't do is get enough battery packs. So the show only recorded maybe the first 2.5 hours, and it was an 8-hour show or 7-hour show. So I didn't get footage for the entire thing. So instead of trying to piecemeal the 2.5 hours that I did get, I decided to just take a couple snapshots of some of my sales that I did and kind of go from there. It was a busier show in a much busier area of compared to my last one. My last one was at a church. This past one that I just did was at a bingo hall, much bigger space, a lot more activity, a lot more traffic, which was nice in itself. But it did come with a lot more vendors. So that was kind of one of the newer challenges I had. Was my last show was there's two separate areas again, but there was maybe a third of the vendors that there was at this show. So a few lessons learned before I start getting into it is this time I went with going with 90% Pokemon and 10% sports. I think my next show that I do is going to be 100% Pokemon, or as I should say, it's going to be 100% TCG card games in general. And we'll talk more about that in my next video. But little teaser there. So going in there with kind of a more Pokemon TCG focus rather than TCG and sports. Even though I did have a couple people come to my table looking at my sports cards, but nobody decided to end up buying. So that's kind of why I decided not to do that. The other lessons learned that I did is I started prepping for my show significantly earlier this time than I did last time. I think last time I started prepping for my show Wednesday night for Saturday show that I had to drive about an hour to get to. This time I started prepping on Monday, so by Friday night it was very little detailed things I needed to do. So Saturday morning all I had to do was get up, pack up the car, and go. And then luckily for me this time I wasn't by myself. My wife ended up coming with me and hung out with me during the day, so that was nice. So first lesson learned, focus on one niche, not try to do too niches like I did with sports and Pokemon. Second lesson learned, having company is always nice. And early prep makes everything so much easier. And then I guess my other big lesson learned that I have for this one is um, the area that I sell, the area that I vend, does not have a strong market for Japanese. Now, I did sell some Japanese cards, um, but there was not a strong market for Japanese. I had quite a few people come up to my table and look at like what I had on the table, and they're like, "You have mostly Japanese." I was like, "Yep," and they're like, "All right, thanks for not wasting my time," and just kept moving. And it was kind of shocking to me that there's a lot of people out there that don't enjoy the Japanese cards, that don't have a good feel on the Japanese cards. That they just want the English stuff. They just want the stuff that's gonna sell for themselves or whatnot. I can't tell you why, but it's kind of a frustrating thing, especially since for me, getting Japanese is significantly easier. And I stand on my what I said previously in some of my other videos of Japanese products uh, grade better. When it comes to grading, I've had really good success with grading my Japanese cards, and then personally, I just think the Japanese cards look better. They feel better. Just everything about them is better. Most of my PC is all Japanese cards, so maybe I'm a little biased, but that is how I feel. Like I do have my English cards that I enjoy, but mainly I have a lot of Japanese cards. One of the biggest reasons is for that price point. Like you can't argue the facts of Japanese is typically cheaper to get into, but in my market, in the area that I sell, it is not a big commodity. So I had a lot of people kind of like skip over my table. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and switch over, and we're going to take a look at some of the setup and show that I had for the vending. So let me bring myself down here, and we'll get into it. So starting up, this was my table setup. I had an 8-foot table. You can kind of see on the right-hand side of the screen here was my case that I had majority of my sports cards. I had a box of where I created these little packs of foil or hollow, reverse hollow, common, uncommons. I made these little packs because I was told there's gonna be a tournament going on, and it was supposed to be like a newer tournament type thing, to where there's gonna be some kids are gonna be there to try to potentially get into the hobby. So I created these packs with that in mind, and then found out day of the show that there was no tournament, and I created the packs from nothing because the guy that was next to me had uh, boxes of bulk that he brought with him that people spent good amount of time going through and just sorting through the cards. So I think next show I'll definitely be bringing bulk boxes for people to be sorting through to kind of give another advantage of people just being at my table having that conversation. Because if you never vended a show, one of the best parts is that interaction, that community feeling that you get with people. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that when people stopped by and chit chatted with me. And having them stay at my table to be able to have that conversation I think is going to be helpful with a bulk box. So moving forward, I'm going to have a bulk box, and then next to my bulk box, I had my Japanese binder, and then behind that, I had my bundle packs that I created for my Japanese sets, where 10 sets of Japanese cards ranging from Scarlet, Violet, EX to Battle Partners, Super Electric Breaker, Future Flash. What else do I have in there? Stellar Miracle, Heat Wave, Crimson Haze, Paradise Dragona, and I think that's it. But I have those bundle packs sitting there as well. And then I have, next to that, I have some loose booster packs of English. I had Evolving Skies, Silver Tempest, and Lost Origin, Vivid Voltage and Lost Origin. And then next to that, as you can see, are the Japanese boxes that I had, and then my English binder. So that was my table setup. You can kind of see my GoPro standing in the corner there. Again, it worked until it didn't, and it was lessons learned. So something I'll move forward from there. But moving in, my first sales, I did not record. I didn't think about it. My because I had the GoPro on at the time, so I didn't take a snapshot of it. And then about 30 minutes later, I realized, hey, maybe I should be taking snapshots, and kind of went from there. I ended up selling a Stevens Beldum starter deck from Japan. Um, I bought 10 of the, or about five of Stevens, and then five of the other set. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I wanted to test it out to see how it worked. This is the first Steven one that I sold, so I was pretty excited, and it was my second sale of the day, so I was kind of riding a high of like, man, maybe this is going to be the day that my Japanese product sells. And then I had a rude awakening coming in later, but we'll kind of get into that. So for the second sale, Steven box was moving high, felt really good about it. Next, I sold a shiny Gardevoir, $5. Couldn't beat that price. Um, the person probably flipped through my binder for probably close to 5 minutes, and then just settled on the one card. So it was nice little sell, nice little card to move. I got this card in a lot. I've been buying a lot more lots lately, English lots to be specific. And this was one of the ones I picked up, so it was nice to see it move, because I like products moving, not just sitting in one spot. Next one I had was a 4-card sale. I had a policy. If my cards are not labeled in my binder, they're $1, for two reasons. One, putting $1 labels on all the $1 cards that I'm going to sell just weren't, bang was not worth the buck when it came to organizing for me. And then when it came to trying to update some of these, it was a lot easier to put a $2 sticker on a $1 card than it was to take the $1 sticker off and then put a two sticker on. So my policy was no sticker, it's $1. So I did make sure that I put stickers on all the higher end cards, so I didn't lose anything too significant. And then I put labels on it. My original labels you can kind of see on my Venusaur here. I had a 5. I had a 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, and a blank dot. And I ran out of numbers really quick, and then so I had to start taking some of the pre-generated numbers and throwing different writing over it and putting it on there. I learned that lesson from my last one, so this next time around, I actually did end up buying just blank price tags to put on there, so that was nice. So that was my second sale, or third sale, I guess, at this point. Fourth sale, goodness, I'm all over the place. I did not take pictures of everything, and I am not going to talk about all my sales. I am going to talk about a couple things real quick while I'm thinking about it. I ended up doing 14 sales of cards for about 30-ish cards, and then I did end up doing 3 trades, 2 involving cards, and then 1 involving uh, booster bundle box for a Night Wanderer box that I'll be talking about here later in this video. So, moving into the next one is a $1 or 1 card sale. Another shiny card. The shinies did really well for me this show, so it was a nice little touch for me to be able to get that going. And then I sold another Japanese cards. For some reason in this show, Leafeon was the hot card. Everybody wanted a Leafeon card. I had multiple people coming up to my table asking me if I had any Leafeons left, and I had to tell them I only had 1 or 2, and then one of them was gone within seconds after that. So that is where I was at with that. Another 3-card sale. This time it was 2 Japanese and 1 English, and this was from a nice little lady that was looking for, as my wife called it, cutesy cards. Quite a few people doing that at that show, so they bought the cards that they thought were cute, which kind of gave me that another reason to do the bulk sales or the bulk cards to have more options for people to buy, even if they're only 50 cents a card or whatever they are. Make a deal, get them out of my inventory and get them out to people that want them. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Another 2 card sale, $6. I ended up getting this Clefairy and binder, a couple binders that I bought off of a guy off Facebook Marketplace. I should have done a better job quality control checking the cards, but that was one of the cleaner cards, so I ended up selling it. So I'm glad to be able to get out of some of that sale off of Facebook Marketplace. Then here I kind of sold one of my booster bundles and a rainbow card. And this was one of the trades I did. I did a Charizard for the Zario VMAX, Aura Beetle VMAX, Hitterine VMAX, and Jock. Um, Kid came up super excited about this Charizard card. He's like, I don't have money, but I have cards to trade. So I ended up taking a look, and this is what we settled on. I think it was about a $18 to $20 card, $18 to $20 Charizard card, and that's what we came up with as a relatively even trade for us. Um, I try to trade at that 80%, but at the same time, when it comes to the younger kids, I try to keep it at a fair, even price because I want them to get the card that they want. I don't want to take all their cards out of their collection either. So it was kind of a balancing act for me, but that's what I came up with for this one. Another little sale. Again, a couple cards I got out of a deal off of the Facebook. So glad to see some of these moving. This was an all Japanese set. It was 3 cards. I did a poor quality pictures here, but it's 3 cards, all Japanese. So I was super excited about it. There is some Japanese cards that sold for me, but again, predominantly people wanted the English. And he straight out told me to thank you for not wasting their time because I had predominantly Japanese cards. I had another shiny set. I had a full shiny evolution line, so that was kind of cool. Somebody ended up picking that up, plus this Jolteon card that I had in my binder from Prismatic Evolutions. And then somebody just came by. I had a lot of people asking about Cosmo cards. For being out of the hobby for a long time and kind of getting back into it when I came back stateside from being overseas, I did not realize that there was such a niche hobbyist set that looks just for Cosmo cards. So that was really interesting to learn. I was kind of excited for it. Now it gives me something to keep my eye on when I go through my collections and when I'm buying collections to make sure that I put these cards off to the side because I know there's a market for it, and I'm able to trade as needed with some of these guys. Because I had a guy come to my table and kind of talk to me and explain to me the Cosmo things because he came asking directly. Um, so that was one of the things I learned. He ended up picking up this Abra here and then the Radiant and Mold Trio. So it was cool to learn. I was excited, and that was kind of one of the big things I enjoy about vending is that communication, that community aspect that you get with the other collectors and learning things that I don't know. And that for me was exciting. That was good. I had a fun time for that, so I couldn't complain too much. And last one that I'm going to talk about is this trade. I did a City in Flames booster bundle for a Night Wanderer with the guy next to me. He saw that I had the Night Wanderer boxes and pretty much talked to me from the get-go. He's like, hey man, if you still got any of those Night Wanderer boxes by the end of the show, I'm going to pick one up off of you. So we ended up working out this trade. He had his listed for 42, which I thought was well under market, but it didn't sell for him, and I didn't really have a lot of English product, so I went ahead and did a trade for City in Flames for my Night Wanderer. Overall, it was a good show for me. I had about 200 in sales and about another 171-ish dollars in trades because one of the other trades I did was for sports. So I did the 2 trades for Pokemon and 1 for sports, and my sports trade ended up netting me a little bit more. on the trade value side. So made out pretty well. It was a good show. I had a good interaction, and hopefully I'll be able to sell at the next eCity Card Show in the 757 area when they have it. But if you're not familiar with the area, we have a couple different big card shows every month. And the other one that I'm trying to get into, there's a wait list to get tables. So I'm trying to get into this other one to build up my reputation, build up the community standing, so I can move into the other show and then be able to vend at multiple shows every month will be nice. So hopefully you learn something. If you like these types of videos, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. And until the next video, you have a wonderful day.